before we just harp on about all that, we've got another match coming right up. It's going to be Flurry versus BloodTrail. And so far, Flurry's kind of middle of the pack right now, whereas BloodTrail is not. He is very much at the bottom of that pack. And wins here for both players. Flurry, as is often the case, we talk about, I feel like every match is important, which it is.
Of course.
But a win for Flurry would promote him a bit further up and continue to battle for that top 4 spot.
Yeah.
Whereas a win for BloodTrail helps him not completely get wrecked, although he's still quite far behind.
And for both players here, losses are pretty bad because for BloodTrail, as opposed to Division B, he's the only player down at 1 win.
Yes.
Well, BlitzChung is now the only player at 1 win in Division B, now that Patch has taken the win. But there's not 2 players right down at the bottom. BloodTrail is definitely on his own there, right down at the bottom, which means if he keeps losing, he will be relegated. There's no one else who can take a worse record than him. However, because it's so close around the middle there, Flurry cannot hope to just have the really poor players down at the bottom and still eke in with a qualification through to the top 4. He also needs to start winning if he wants any hope of getting through to that top 4 and get on to playoffs. So for both players here, one for not being relegated, one for qualifying through to playoffs, it's an important match.
Yeah, and also, Flurry and BloodTrail in a few weeks could be completely switched places, depending on how the results go, right? If BloodTrail wins the next few matches and the players at the bottom lose, then it's all up for grabs in relegation. Suddenly the players have just swapped places. Now look at the lineups, though. Flurry bringing a fairly standard lineup again. I think we mentioned it yesterday, but I feel like Flurry not being able to play Rogue hurts him a little bit. Just as much if Hunter was unplayable, you could argue, then Staz, I feel, would not have as good a time in Grandmasters because one of his most strongest styles just gets removed. But overall, both players are Ban Warrior. Makes me quite happy. And looking at the lineups, who do you like more with what's left? There's Druid, Shaman, and Hunter versus Druid, Hunter, and Paladin. So Paladin versus Shaman, what do you think? Not that this is the game 1, of course, it's about to start, but just in the
Something
lineups.
to focus on. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look over this exact matchup yet, but I mean, well, with what the matchup is here of Druid versus Shaman, I think this one generally feels to me, in what we've seen, to be relatively Druid favored. They just have a pretty good amount of healing the majority of the time and armor gain to be able to get out of range, in addition to, of course, the pretty reasonable amount of pressure that can be thrown down in the mid game. But I think for BloodTrail, if he tightens up his play, as we've seen somewhat lacking with his OTK Paladin, then I think it could be in a very good spot to be able to take a nice quick win here.
Flurry is running the 2 of Hidden Oasis, which is by all means not standard. Maybe one of the first cuts that actually hits Druid when you're thinking about decks. I know, for example, in a lot of the Malygos decks in Hunt Races, there's one.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one of the cards that gets cut first. Very important in this matchup that Flurry does have it, because not only is he more likely to draw 1, which he already has done, but the ability to play 2 really pushes Paladin to the maximum level of damage optimization, I would say, in terms of actually getting the kill in this deck.
Pretty dream starting hand here for Flurry. Despite the fact that he did not pick Oasis Searcher, I believe, off of the Worthy Expedition. It was the Hidden Oasis that he picked, or was it the Starfall?
I think it was
the Hidden Oasis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, it wouldn't really make any sense. Was it the Wrap he just played?
I'm confused. I was looking at the deck.
I've got to be honest. Sorry, I was looking at the deck list as well at the time.
If only we had deck tracker.
Imagine that. But it is somewhat surprising to not see the Oasis Surger being picked, because while it's reasonable to assume that Paladin will be able to clear it off,
not in a nice way.
Eventually, yeah, exactly. Eventually, something will stick, and getting that mid-game aggression is one of the best ways to make them play awkwardly and not allow them to get that full damage.
It's a style you pick up very quickly the more you play Quest Druid. Is a lot of the time, to be honest, when I say Quest Druid, any Druid with the Quest, because that can be Mali or it can be this version. A lot of your game wins, or a good chunk of them, you can win games by playing the Protect the Surger game, where you play it, it lives, and then every play after that is doing almost anything you can do to let those Surgers hit face. Right. So that's use your Starfalls, your removal to get rid of taunts, use other taunts to protect the Surgers from minions, and so on. And what that means is if you just hit face once, twice, well, your opponent's dead, and then you just kill them like with swipes or something. You don't have to do these fancy late game plays that Druids, kind of have their main priority listed on. There's a Starfall there, and that's reasonable. You might think overkill, but it gets the Anubis Defender out, and also Paladin doesn't really play that many Starfallable minions. So you may as well get it out the hand because Flurry will want to draw his deck probably as quickly as BloodTrail wants to draw his.
Speaking of drawing, the signature card there from BloodTrail, which a lot of people are actually...
It's a Picard then. So it's a Star Trek. It's signature Picard.
Did I say signature?
I don't think you did, but I think the way you said it sounded like it. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
That is a card I would play.
Just like this.
Yeah. That could be a good substitute for Zephyrus because he just makes it so.
It's a Picard film coming out, actually.
Yeah, there is. Anyway, moving on. The Salad Flight here for BloodTrail is a card that a lot of people predicted would make the cut in this OTK Paladin. Predicted might even push it over the edge because it's another very, very powerful card draw effect. But I think the conclusion that most players have come to was the draw engine's good enough already. You have to cut some draw cards because there's too many, and Salad's Pride just didn't. The fact that it's conditional meant I think that it too often drew nothing good.
Yeah, so this is the weird thing about BloodTrail's list actually is the Blessing of Wisdom plus Salad's Pride. There's also only one Equality, one Consecrate, one Prismatic Lens, one Hammer of Wrath, one True Silver. I don't know what I think about this list, Darren, is what I'm getting at. Like one True Silver when a lot of the matchups you want to swing damage feels interesting at best. That's the one that really scares me, though, and maybe the double equality. Because if you're against Druid, I feel like you need an equality or at least a second Consecrate with a Pyro.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm personally the biggest fan of it either.
It's definitely tons of cycle, so he does his thing quicker, but I feel he also gets rolled quicker as well. Or more often, should I say, not necessarily quicker.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tested it, this list, to be honest. And this is one of the things that I always underestimate with this deck is that by drawing through your deck, it almost does the same thing as surviving. Because once you've drawn your deck, you win. You have to survive for less time, so you need less survival tools. So I'm hesitant to give too much of a judgment call here, but it does seem like...
I think for me, the True Silver is the weird one, because I feel like the damage it provides is actually very vital to your game plan in many matchups, actually.
And just the stuff like one Prismatic Lens, is that really better than
Salad's Pride?
Yeah, than Salad's Pride? Why not just play the second Prismatic Lens?
Or is it better than a Blessing of Wisdom?
Yeah, Blessing of Wisdoms. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, for me, it's great cards substituted with not so great cards. And if you Blessing of Wisdom your opponent's minion, I feel like a lot of the time the opponent just hits you anyway. Like, yeah, you get a card draw, a couple of draws, but sometimes that can be a problem based on your hand size as well.
And I think BloodTrail's onto something. I think a version more one-off so that you can more consistently activate... Wow. Sorry, so you can more consistently activate Zephyrus is definitely something to consider. I'm not sure if this exact list is the way to go necessarily. But Flurry now with a pickup of Innovate off the top. We are, of course, looking at Cenarius for a push of 12 damage immediately.
I like it. There's no other play.
Everything else is just very, very mediocre. I mean, it's super all-in. We could, of course, just see Hidden Oasis this turn, or just pass, push face, and then Cenarius next turn after the clear comes down.
The frustration is Hidden Oasis against a full True Silver is a little bit scary. The problem is you could just die. BloodTrail could just Holy Wrath you in the face and you die, and it looks like Flurry is going for Hidden Oasis, but personally, I think that was a Cenarius turn. We've just said he only plays one Equality, one Consecrate. He's already played one Pyromancer. Like,
I think I actually agree with the play made by Flurry here. I think just that with 6 cards left in the deck after your opponent draw, 7 cards after your opponent takes the draw, they're so likely to have found an answer for this board. Even if it's just stalling for a turn with timeout to draw another card, I think you want to save Cenarius for either a surprise lethal push or a refill after the board is cleared.
okay.
Because look at this, Shrink Ray comes down for a bunch of 1/1s, all of a sudden they're 3/3s again.
That's true.
Where's the amount?
I just saw the health total and was scared. For me,
Fair enough.
All right, Flurry. Just gonna rip the second Hidden Oasis. Fine, make me look stupid. I'm used to it. This is nice read, of course. And there is a timeout for BloodTrail, but now this is where you've got to get a bit funky with your maths. Of when you time out, does that buy you the correct amount of turns to win the game?
And I think here it's pretty easy, just an equality comp.
Oh,
turn,
yeah,
or
this turn, yeah.
equality pyro something. Could he have fit in Crystology?
I think I like Consecrate. Does damage to face. And it's a high mana cost card.
Yeah, I guess you won't necessarily be able to play it along the way. Fair enough, fair enough.
And remember, there's although I wonder if you should just play Pyro that turn. I think BloodTrail just messed up.
By not playing pyro.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just play a 3-2? He's used Equality, he's used a Consecrate, he's used a Shrink Ray. What's the Pyro doing?
I love the not swinging face as well. I think when your opponent's at 25, wait for them to heal up again. Yeah, or gain.
But that's what I mean. Like, imagine a Pyro being on the board. Yes, it gets cleaned up, but from BloodTrail's point, that could have been 3 extra damage instead of 1. Like, it's a lot of damage. But now, so, wait. Can he draw his? So it depends what he's got in his deck. But he could go for it, right?
Or
he can
double Crystology.
No. Well, he can also Chevaler, Blessing of Wisdom attack, then shuffle, then go. It depends what's in his deck, and I don't know what's left.
I don't know what's left either.
He could go for a 1 in 4. I guess he doesn't need to because of timeout.
I think you take the timeout here because this is interestingly a very similar situation to how we played last time.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to bring it up. So he's got no minions. You just play the second Crystology, right?
Crystology just to play it, get out of your hand. Is there any reason not to? Zephyrus maths, like maybe you need to get 1 mana cheaper or something. But I don't think it makes any difference when you play.
What's crazy is the only way Flurry lives straight up is if he goes to 30, right?
Because Zephyrus into Soulfire plus the 25 damage is specifically exactly 29. Which I don't know if that's deliberate in some way, but it just makes it so interesting in these matchups how if you can stay at exactly full health, you can win. And if you have a taunt in play to get rid of the True Silver. Although BloodTrail only running 1 True Silver doesn't even have a second one. Gone. So does, in that case, BloodTrail try and get Tyrion off of the Zephyrus
It's too
instead?
slow.
It's too slow, I think, yeah.
But this is all going to be reliant as well on if Flurry plays Hidden Oasis. And he chose to play it earlier, mainly to have a second wave with Scenaris. But if you're asking me, when my opponent's on 3 cards left, I think I would play Hidden Oasis. He's not. So he could just be dead this turn.
All in here on the damage for Flurry. So for BloodTrail, with...
Your wish is my
Is he just going for a board clear here?
Oh, he's just clearing. Okay.
So he could have taken a 1 out of 3 there, right? Because he could have gone with the Blessing of Wisdom to draw a card.
And he also still has a second Holy Wrath. But he couldn't have done it, but he would have died, right?
If he missed.
Yeah, if he misses, he dies.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So I guess this is better, because he never dies.
And again, he's making the read of there being no Hidden Oasis.
Well, that's the worry, isn't it?
Right.
This is good because he doesn't die, he buys more time. That's good. But by buying more time, he gives Flurry more time to heal, which is bad. And that was spicy.
Flurry here again, not going with the Hidden Oasis though. So now, BloodTrail has a 50% chance to win the game, right?
You do it, right? Because you can time out anyway.
Because this is the exact situation. Oh, if he misses, he goes timeout
and
then
does it again.
Right, yes.
He does it 100% of the time now.
Yes,
It's 100% correct to do this.
You're correct.
Because he can time out exactly if things go bad, and then he wins the game.
Yeah, he sees it.
Well, I'll say he wins the game.
So if he has a 50% chance to just win the game.
He can't heal past it, right? So he does win the game. This wins him the game 100% of the time. Correct?
How? So say he misses, whatever the other card in his deck, say it does 4 damage or something, or 2 damage.
I guess it did.
You know, then he could heal back up to 30. It's not a lock win.
And also he's used
He's
Zephyrus.
played the Chevaler. He has to go in now.
He's used Zephyrus. Oh no, he can draw a card? Wait, okay, I got confused with what he's doing now.
Me too.
As long as he clicks the timeout. Did he get it? No, it's 2.
But of course, if he wants to play the timeout, he can't play the Blessing of Wisdom as well. So he took a 33% instead of a 50% to have a backup.
But wait. Did he do that in the wrong order?
How do you mean? He did that in the right order if he wants to play timeout.
Right, sorry, yeah. Apologies.
So BloodTrail now has played his Zephyrus, of course, so now he's left with 25 damage that he can deal only. His 2 cards left in deck are Shivala and Second Holy Wrath.
Yes.
So he can do it next turn 100%, because he either draws the Holy Wrath, just plays it for 25.
Or he draws it, flash a light.
Exactly.
The frustration here for Flurry is he can't make Zephyrus give him health or armor. Because he's high health, right? It's
He just
well,
grabs
can't force,
Zephyrus by the
can't force
shirt,
the heal.
like, please.
But the sick thing is, BloodTrail can put... Well, BloodTrail can't even put him to 29.
No.
Sorry, BloodTrail can't do 29, he's used Zephyrus.
Yeah.
So does Flurry just win?
Jewels of the sun.
Because one True Silver, gone. He didn't get Tyrion from Zephyrus. He used Twisted Nether.
almost out of cards.
So, unless I'm missing something, this is going to... Because he can just Zephyrus into heal
I'm out
now.
of cards.
He can now attack him with the Shivala, deal another 2 damage to face. He just has to hope that the Shivalas get there.
So he shuffles another Shivala.
Draw
right?
it, play it again. He has to hope that the 2 7/5s on board can get there.
Yep. He's just got to do it now.
Let's stash that away.
And I don't think they do. With War Druid, Loti, and Starfall, I think that ends the game.
No?
Okay, yeah, either way, he can fit in a hero power this
Oh,
way, I
right,
suppose,
sure.
or a Pyromancer.
It's just a small problem.
I'm out of cards.
I guess the time doesn't matter. This is win or loss, so the overdraw doesn't
Yeah.
change the thing.
He either gets to connect face for 7 or he doesn't.
Well,
And it looks to me
For duty.
like he doesn't.
and now,
What's the best way to sequence this?
just low T, play it, trade, right?
Yeah. There's
Just
no...
has to.
There is a 1-mana heal in Standard, right? There's the new Priest card,
Priest one.
which is... I can't remember what it's called, but 1-mana heal
But if
for
he knows
5.
what he's doing, he never needs it.
Yes.
If he knows what
Yes.
BloodTrail has left, he
You're correct.
never needs
You're
to play
correct.
that.
Okay, this is fine. You can still play War Druid Lotus.
Power takes metal.
Like, I'm just saying he can go innovate Zephyrus, 1-mana heal card. Again,
But-
not that it makes any difference.
Yeah. Well, the thing is as well, right? It just technically heals him less because you get healing touch, which goes for 8 versus 5, so it's worse.
Yeah. Or, well, I guess, of course, he also needs to make sure he doesn't die to hero powers from BloodTrail, as ridiculous as that seems.
Oh well.
That's armor, but it's also a card drawn. BloodTrail is not dead quite yet. He's got a while before fatigue kicks in. I mean, this just giving Tyrion should lock out the game anyway.
Yep. Again, if he knows what's left,
Yeah.
if he just picks Tyrion is actually better than heal,
Yeah.
and then he can Ferocious Howl next turn.
And so what went wrong for BloodTrail then this game? The turn where he just played Zephyrus for a board clear,
When he could have timed
was
out.
that ever better than timing out or just going for the
Oh.
chance to win the game?
Third Hidden Oasis.
Oh, was
there
that
for
Hidden Oasis? I
Flurry.
didn't even see it.
Nice. Yeah, so I mean, what I think went wrong was BloodTrail's deck was a problem. Like I said, the first thing, there's all the one-offs and all the different changes, fine. But honestly, for me, I think just one True Silver, if you're not going to go for Tyrion, or you can't consistently go for Tyrion in the matchups where you need to do more than the 25,
Yeah.
is a problem. And the fact that it was so straightforward, there was no fear of a second True Silver,
Yeah.
meant that Flurry could very safely just math out what was the correct answer. Whereas look at the Blessing of Wisdom versus second True Silver. It's very results oriented because we've seen the game play out now.
Yeah.
But I don't really know what some of these changes are supposed to do that having more damage to represent doesn't, especially when 2 of your common opponents are going to be Warrior, although it was banned, Druid. There are a few decks that can heal, even Shaman can heal, right? So, or other Paladins. I don't know, I feel like that having that damage like in hand ready to go is actually so important. But anyway, we can just blab on for a little bit more after the break. We'll be right back with game number 2 between Flurry and BloodTrail.
Here comes the boom! Somebody order a bomb!
No. No. No.
We're gonna have some fun! Magic!
Here comes the thing.
This should be interesting.
Your will is no longer... Magic!
Okay then.
Need a hand, Explorer?
You'll find me wherever the action is. Onward to adventure.
Magic!
We're continuing with Flurry versus BloodTrail right now, and Flurry taking a win there, and I feel like BloodTrail suffered more from his deck, really, than his play. There was a couple of questionable moments with that Zephyrus choice, whether it was needed or not. Honestly, I have to look back in the game, as I can't quite recall
Yeah.
if the timeouts would have got him enough turns and so on, so on, so on.
I think the main thing for BloodTrail is if we see him play this deck again, I want to see him just be riskier with it. Like I think he's just playing it a bit too rigidly. When with that deck, you have to be very brave in how you play it, and sometimes just say, right, I have a 25% to win the game, because if I don't take it now, I have a 5% to win if I just delay it.
Yeah, and it's not, you'd always, even though it feels risky, it's actually less
It's just
risky
correct, yeah.
because you'll lose more often anyway.
Yeah.
But I do believe Flurry is going to be on the Quest Shaman, and BloodTrail is going to be on the Druid for this one, which is the deck shielded. So we're going to see. There we go. That was weird. Let's see what happened. But anyway, let's get into the game. If BloodTrail, again, as we've sort of talked a lot about so far this weekend, as it is getting very, very important as these scorelines start to shape up. If BloodTrail loses this, he's going to go 1-7, which is not good.
Yeah, that would currently be our worst score here in Asia Pacific Grandmasters. After Patrick took the win, Blitzchung still yet to play this week, who could, of course, join him there. But BloodTrail hasn't even lost yet. He can still turn this series around if he's able to take the next couple of victories, which with his starting hand, you know, it's not the best, not the worst. He's got a couple of extra removal tools at the start.
It's all right. It'll do.
Calm down. Couple of good options here, however. I guess I can agree with the Nourish.
Yeah, I agree with Nourish too.
Yeah.
You consider Loti and then you're like, nah, Nourish is well good. So you pick that one instead. But the Bees opening isn't bad versus Shaman as well, especially when this totem is on the board, because you effectively kill the totem and get 4 1/1s to play with.
Yeah.
A little bit weak to Elemental, of course. But also the Starfall now with a Nourish pickup from that Discover means that BloodTrail has the pieces to get there. My issue, as ever, and I'm sure people are bored of it, is Nomi good enough? Like, what matchups is it good in? I still don't know, Derek.
So what's he playing? This week, BloodTrail's going for the version that cuts King Phaeoris, but is running Nomi and Elise, and of course Zephyrus down at the bottom as well. I don't hate this version. I think what I'd like to see is the same, but just with King Phaeoris instead of Nomi. But I just think that the way I'm seeing this deck played, I like the versions more. Maybe this is, you know, small sample size of being results oriented, but the games I like the look of more, that feel more dominant to me, are the ones with the Druids just curving out, playing stuff nice and aggressive all the time. Exactly. Whereas Chef Nomi, it's very, very specific, the matchups where it's good in. This could be one of those. I think it's very possible that the Druid gets down to Chef Nomi. But I think it's more likely that King Phaeoris would do the same thing, or a slightly weaker thing,
but
significantly quicker. Yeah.
But because of that, I think ends up being more powerful. One, because it is quicker, and two, because you just Elise Floop. You know, you can do stuff like that, which means that you're not only just doing, oh, Phaeoris is worse than Nomi overall, but not if you play like Phaeoris twice.
Yeah.
And like 5 turns before you could even think about playing Nomi. You know, that's the biggest thing for me. Sign me up for a Bloodlust, Darren. Just get in the mindset right now.
I mean, the spells
Flurry.
he's been getting have been pretty insane. Double mutate. Yeah.
Just mutate everything. Bloodlust next turn. GG. You've got to believe.
What is this?
Heart of the cards.
The X-Men?
Yeah. Oh, you won't know that, didn't you? You watched
the
X-Men?
No, I saw it. It was,
really?
It was still on, when I was a kid. Yeah.
I'm not surprised, 'cause it's a classic.
Honestly, I was really young when I watched that, and I think I found it a bit scary.
It didn't mess about.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
It was pretty
like,
full
there
on.
was some pretty grim things, actually.
Yeah.
Really good series, though. I recommend it.
Armored Goon. Coming in hot here. It's honestly a pretty good one to evolve into. Like I said, whenever it evolves to a 6-drop, it's never Boulder Fist Ogre. Armored Goon all the time.
Yeah.
Never Boulder Fist.
Are you surprised Flurry didn't actually mutate the Cable Rat last turn? I was a little bit. He has mutates for days, and I think a 1/1 into something, so you don't just have one big minion.
It was very weak to exactly Starfall. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Flurry's like, you got a second Starfall there?
Tick, tick, tick. Yeah. Man, it's just Lackey City. But it wasn't a very high damage opener, at least, of course, until we factor in the Bloodlust, which could turn this all around in a heartbeat for Flurry. So BloodTrail's got what it takes to just take it nice and slow.
For now. Look at this, he's done nothing this turn, right?
Yeah,
he's going to play an Anubisath, fine, it's a taunt in the way.
Yeah, you could trade into the 2-1.
Because we see the Bloodlust, it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
And also, wait. He can... Oh, he's only got one. That's unfortunate. I was thinking, like, if he had the mana to play a Lackey, rush it, then Bloodlust, so the rush kills the taunt.
That would have been
and then
insane.
so on. Is this Bloodlust just to make the kill on the 6 health minion easier?
I think
correct.
Bloodlust, just to like try and ameliorate the board a little bit, was definitely worth considering, because this is starting to slip away from Flurry, and he hasn't necessarily got the longevity with this hand. He's going for the bounce on the Sludge Slurper here, obviously to get a little bit more value to throw down. But there's only very specific lackeys that are actually good here.
This is nice though, because this holds his board a little bit. He uses the minion he played, obviously, to do the majority of the trading. Sure. Get his hold of something. I imagine, yeah, value trade going to come down onto that B. And then just go. I think like Flurry just needs to just keep holding his board. I feel like he
very
might
greedy
be,
with
yeah,
those
a bit
mutates.
safe, or maybe even not safe with his mutates. I like just playing them.
Do you think this maybe plays into the same thing we were talking about with Alutimu earlier on, though, where he's realizing it's a decent play now, but it's not strong enough to win the game, and he's maybe trying to play to the out of, obviously, exactly either Mogu Flesh Shaper, Giggling Inventor, or I suppose the former champ as well?
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one. Oh no, he's not playing Giggling Inventors, and he's only playing one former champ. Maybe it was good just to throw him down. He has 2 of them, right?
That's it. He's like, we'll have played 3 throughout the course of the game. Like,
Yeah.
that's insane.
And another Witchy Lucky now as well. He can evolve for days. Cool.
Okay, well, this is where we start seeing the game maybe change gears. Okay, maybe not now. Because Flurry, once you start getting a few ethereal lackeys, you start considering earthquakes against Druid.
Good
and
point.
saying like, oh wow, is this just, do I just slightly change from an aggro deck to a late game deck? And well, there are your options, which
You're
is
a prophet.
Hagatha and Earthquake. I do like Earthquake overall.
Me too. I think it takes
It's
a little
likely
too
he needs
long.
Earthquake now. Yeah. I have done some early lackeys though that I've picked Hagatha's scheme on like turn 3 and been like, oh, you ain't prepared for this.
It's only got to upgrade once for it to be acceptable. I think a lot of the time, like 5 mana deal 2, it's good enough
But
sometimes.
if you take it early enough, play for the board, and the second you lose it, boom, scheme for 100. Oh.
Second Earthquake versus Plague of
and
Murlocs.
a Soul of the Murlocs. Oh,
Oh.
good pick Soul, wow.
I mean, that was a rope is burning, click anything kind of turn there. But I think we can both agree with Bloodlust in hand, that was a pretty easy Soul of the Murloc.
It's a bit of a ropey decision not to pick the Soul.
Yes!
You guys didn't even see the physical reaction that occurred to that terrible joke. Save that
As
for
Raven got an
production of me.
eyeful.
And yes, that's exactly how it sounds. And this is it, and Flurry. I don't know if he can slow play this, but with 2 Earthquakes, BloodTrail isn't going to be like, I'm not going to play minions, because I don't think you can be too afraid of MC tech. Obviously, this turn specifically is very good for BloodTrail to dodge MC, but still, like, you just get rid.
Yeah. And this is where I was talking about how Chef Nomi can come into play, because now we're getting into the argument of whose side is eventuality benefiting here. Like, as the game goes on longer and longer, who pulls further and further ahead? And I think purely because of Chef Nomi, the answer is BloodTrail in the super late game. But in the 11 to 12 cards in before then, maybe it favors Flurry. Maybe it flavors Flurry as well, who knows? Another Earthquake here, honestly, isn't the worst idea. It's obviously a tad off of full clearing, and he has no way to make up the rest.
I think I like this. Go super wide. BloodTrail
Okay,
either clears or goes wide. If he goes wide, you can steal with MCT. If it's that bad, you can Earthquake. What's he playing MCT? Oh, okay. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, well, calm down, Flurry.
I would not like that. Dr. Morrigan.
Wait, that'll get Mogu out. Flurry, wait. There's a play here. You trade it in, it swaps into Mogu, you mutate.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
I think Dr. Morrigan in Quest Shaman, where every card sucks in terms of its stats, is not the way to go. That's a little bit more like it, though.
Oh! Ancestral Spirit as well. Okay.
It was the pick all along. He saw the lines.
Flurry's just good.
Was this good from Flurry? Like, I feel like there's a pretty good chance he just has his board
Well, what do you expect him
cleared
to do?
up here. Right. Well, just that now he still has an Earthquake in hand, sorry, that he's probably expecting to have to use. But he's had every single good minion just wiped off the board.
I don't think he's overly expecting to use the Earthquake soon, Because whenever a board's earthquakeable, it's also hero power mind techable, right?
Yeah, I guess.
And then imagine you just flip the board and steal half their minions. That's actually pretty sick.
It's just like, if BloodTrail clears off the board and doesn't develop that much, Flurry can't really do anything except just play under Earthquakes.
Again, BloodTrail's done a really good job of 2 turns in a row now.
BloodTrail's done a very good
Just
job
having
there.
3 minions
Yeah.
there threatening lethal every turn. You're right, this might just have to be an Earthquake. At least
Oh, it's a
the
horrible Earthquake.
commiseration prize is he does get the minion out the egg. Oh, yeah, it lives, right? 'Cause it's 5 then too.
Yes, it would be a 3-2. It's just something funny about the Serpent Egg as well, just a little head popping out. Meh.
Reminds me of what was that? What was that show that the talking dinosaurs, the family? Oh,
I believe you're referring to Dinosaurs.
Oh, is that what it was?
It's called Dinosaurs.
What a stupid name for that show. That's a very vague name, isn't it? On one hand, it could be Jurassic Park. On the other hand, it could be a children's show. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, as the other big sitcom of the time, it really paled in comparison to Humans.
Oh, here comes the bloodlust for not what we expected it for. Just do a decent job of clearing at the board, though.
Oh, the tempo barista.
Got a spice coming right up.
Which does, of course, somewhat confuse the game plan here, at least to me, for what Flurry's going for, in that he's still just tempoing out these minions. He's clearly not setting up, I think it's fair to say, for an Earthquake. But still, I feel like it's one of the strongest parts of his hand.
What if he's just using it to buy time to get Shudderwock down?
Maybe, yeah, that's
You know, he's just like,
a fair
okay,
point.
this is
Buy
safe
the
enough.
time.
And then next turn, if it's not safe, Earthquake. Next turn, maybe I can MC tech. Next turn, maybe I've drawn Shudderwock by then.
Very fair point. Stronger and stronger plays coming through for BloodTrail here.
Sign me up for a Surger pass.
Surger
Surger trade
pass.
hit face pass.
Yeah, sure. I don't think he can have a strong read on Earthquake at all here. So, like, I was thinking, obviously, ideally, if he knew the situation, he would keep his guy at full health.
I
I
just
guess Surger double trade face.
Yeah,
it does that.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And also, you can't think about Earthquake play around mind control tech. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. He has an Oasis in hand for next turn, or whenever. Like, this Anubis F defender is not needed.
So what's the worst case scenario? The 6-9 gets stolen?
I guess.
Is that bad? He's still winning with Nomi later on.
Mental dislocator.
I think given that BloodTrail has to play into play into mind control tech at some point, it's not that bad of a situation to do so.
Does he? If he plays into mind control
Well, by
tech
Chef Nomi,
at
but I guess
Nomi,
at that
he
point,
wins.
yeah.
Oh no, he stole 2 6/6s. My other million 6/6s can hit face. Like,
Yeah, I agree, actually.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
think that was an
I feel like,
overextension. Yeah.
especially because Hidden Oasis is in hand,
Yeah.
if the board gets cleared, fine, Hidden Oasis, and then do the set. If it doesn't get cleared, you win.
I
Like,
agree.
done. There's no, I didn't foresee any drawbacks to not playing it, is my query.
Because I always try and think about that with players that you're quote-unquote baiting out the mind control tech
Right.
by going for that. But in the end here, BloodTrail, I guess, says, you know what, even if you
GG.
have that, as long as the 6 health guy survives, I can swing face with Gorehound and close things out, equalizing the game. Series at 1 game apiece. Which is a pretty impressive win there from BloodTrail.
Yeah, and once again, more and more I see it, the more and more I think that Nomi can be good in bad case scenarios when games go on late, or you just get him, which I feel like Druid maybe because Nomi is one of the first things that Quest Druid players went to. People just detracted from the playstyle of, well, actually you can just kill them a lot of the time, and I think we're slowly starting to see where Nomi's going to get cut. We've seen Nomi cuts, Elise keeps, and King Fiore's keeps, which we've talked about before, which I like. Obviously, BloodTrail got the job done, and that's great, but it just goes to my point where Nomi was in hand all game, was never really going to make an impact. I think by that point, the game's won or lost anyway.
I don't think that's necessarily true all the time. In this particular instance, yeah, Nomi was obviously not.
I think it's true most of the time.
Maybe I'm just misunderstanding how the Quest Shaman should play the matchup. But I feel like it can go quite long and grindy a lot of the time because Druid just draws so quickly that the game doesn't actually have to go on for that long for Nomi to come online.
Yeah, I guess my thought path is what turn happens where the Druid can just play a Nomi and not die.
That's fair. Yeah.
You know, if you take that rough game, obviously it's one
Yeah.
game, but if you just take the rough way the game was played out, you've got to imagine that seemed pretty reasonable of that matchup in how it happened. And what turn does BloodTrail just play Nomi? Because he has to play the first one at some point. 7 mana play Nomi, pass, and then it's either dead or he's won anyway. But if he's won anyway, could he have just won with any other card? I don't know. But anyway, BloodTrail did get the win there, evening it up. Some pretty solid play, but again, I think Blood Flurry.
Fury.
just comboing both players. I think Flurry may have tripped a little bit on going to... I think he went one direction with Bloodlust, and the second it didn't look great. Went the other direction with Earthquake, and I think the second you do that, you're like half as powerful doing both things, so maybe it wasn't good enough. Not necessarily Flurry's fault. Yeah. But I think maybe the Bloodlust just to clear away the board and keep board control on that turn, that one turn, may have just been correct.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that with specifically discovering spells, Flurry could have done to improve his percentages. Obviously, number one, Soul of the Murloc. I think we can both agree that should have been
game
picked.
changer.
Yeah, to just throw that down as soon as possible and get a nice wide board for Bloodlust, very likely sticking about.
Yes.
Also, just some slight other stuff, like he could have picked, instead of the second Earthquake, a Plague of Murlocs, which of course means you can just have a 10-mana board clear anytime if you want to. Not necessarily the most impactful thing against Druid, but definitely something to consider at the very least.
I think as well, when you consider that a lot of the board from Flurry for the mid-game onwards was a load of trash. It's just all 1/1.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned at the start of the show, Plague of Murlocs can actually make your trash board of 1/1s into Murlocs with synergy with more than 1 health, which makes it a decent difference versus Druid. But anyway, that's enough of that game. Let's get into game number 3, decider between BloodTrail and Flurry. BloodTrail on the top on this Paladin, keeping the Salute's Pride, and Flurry on the bottom on the Hunter.
BloodTrail ready to go, jumping into action, leaping in with the Salute's Pride. And I think it's a pretty good keep. You know, it's one of those cards where because it tutors out specific minions, if you have it at the start, you're more likely to find it.
You know what's funny about the artwork on that card?
What?
If you just added in some floor between the claws and the bottom of the card, it looks like Mufasa when he's hanging off the cliff.
That's true.
Scar, help me. Doesn't it?
Wait, sorry, what? When Mufasa
is hanging
off the cliff and then climbs back up and
Scar throws him off. Spoilers.
Just waiting to see that.
If you've not seen it in the past, 20 years it's been out, Darren?
I actually can't even joke about that because The Lion King was my brother, who's a few years younger than me. It was his film when he was a very young child that he was obsessed with. Right. He couldn't even speak, but the one thing he could say was Ra, which meant Lion King. Put on the Lion King. And then a few months later, Ra again, which meant Ra again. We want the Lion King on again.
I think I could, just off the top of my head, word for word, read you out that script of that film.
I think together we could give it a good run for its money. I've seen that film tens, if not hundreds of times at this point.
Oh, I'm on hundreds easily.
Those are rookie numbers. You've got to boost those numbers.
You've not even got the golden Lion King portrait yet, Eric. Look at you, 500 Lion King watches. Oh, terrible. What a noob. Let's get into this game. And there is a mystery secret. I didn't catch it if it was hovered over, but I know there's one is Rat Trap and the other one is a question mark.
Yeah, I don't think we actually get to see on the spectator unless production hovers over it what the
mystery secret.
Yes, the card is there. At least when the opponent plays it from our perspective. I just wasn't looking this time.
I think I actually like the links.
To just trade it.
Just go in. Yeah, I like this a lot. Just go in. Yes, it's not. I'm not counting that as overkill because it's weird. But this just keeps the minion healthy. It doesn't make any weird trades happen. Obviously, we don't know what that secret is, so it's tough for us to call exactly what the plays look like. But I like that. He's at 1 mana, chuck a links in, who cares? You keep a 3/4 and a 2/4 on the board, plus 2 secrets that can't be procced. Like, that's Hunter 101, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the central tenet of Flurry's entire game plan here, which is get as much damage face while you can as possible. Because with Kill Command and, of course, Dino Tamer Branthony ready to go in hand, I think he should be launching all the damage face.
I hope you like my invention.
Well, we know it's not Snipe. Tempo Zephyrus.
Your wish is my
He has to empty his hand?
Guess so, yeah. Everything else just drew a card. Fair enough. Never feels good.
Ooh. Okay. What about just Secret Keeper Freeze and Trap Hero Power Phase? You've seen that BloodTrail's played a terrible turn because he's just played Zephyrus because his hand's so full. So if he bounces the Novice, enjoy.
Great.
If he bounces the Zephyrus, that's a 4-mana Zephyrus.
Yeah.
Spend 4 mana on that. Even if he gets to wish the card, spend it. He only has a 6-mana wish most of the time.
Well, I think what most likely BloodTrail will do is attack before he plays a card, if any minions are left alive, because he would want it to be destroyed, rather than have it in the hand. Like, he'd rather have nothing than a 4-mana Zephyrus.
Just so kind of good,
right? Yeah, exactly. Just a slight addendum to your point. But yes, I think this for Flurry, is the way to do it.
Flurry went a bit halfway, won the Novice Engineer to be bounced, which he misses 2 damage. I say miss, doesn't miss, but doesn't get 2 damage to face. But it's fine overall.
Oh, there it is. Snaky Snakes. I do like BloodTrail attacking first as well. It is not a mistake here, I think, to destroy the Zephyrus. He just wants as much hand space free as possible.
And again, BloodTrail only running the 1 Consecrate means that he's got to be a bit more imaginative with how he deals with this board. He does have Pyro, but again, there's Pyro equality. But now is he scared? Is he scared of I guess he shouldn't be scared of anything, apart from just using those resources.
Yeah, he obviously doesn't want to activate Rat Trap unless he has the ability to clear it off on the same turn, or protect against it. Like, we could see something Crystology and then Timeout to just make your opponent build up as big of a board as possible, then remove the turn after.
It is one thing that I did talk a lot about back in the day, where it was mid-range Hunter versus Paladin, was the use of Timeout being used to just gain health, basically, and give the Hunter a bad turn.
This feels like BloodTrail might be taking too much damage. Like, this is a lot of damage on the board to not at least clear up or
I guess he
go for a
thinks
timeout.
The heal he gets from the trades, if they happen, will be worth it. And if they don't get traded, he has Flash of Light. My worry is a Deadly Shot here is a nightmare. Like, Deadly Shot is,
It was actually a really tough turn because we could have seen Pyromancer, Crystology, and then Timeout. I think that burns 1 card off Crystology, but I think you maybe say fine. And then because it activates the Rat Trap, but then he wouldn't have an activator for Equality next turn because he's played the Pyromancer. Maybe that's just bad.
It's tough, isn't it?
Really tough turn there. But this line of play where he tanks a whole bunch of damage, I don't know, even if he just played the Timeout there on his turn and then removed next turn,
because one of the issues now is
it's just really
he
scary.
might get to the point where he feels forced to play Timeout. And when you're forced to play Timeout, it's bad. You don't want to feel forced because that's mana you generally didn't want to spend that turn.
True.
And now he's just facing down. That's the problem. The board is very well shaped for Flurry. It's just an awkward board, and there's no what's the card? Subdue.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no Subdue at all on the list, actually. Another card that I do actually like.
And is usually run as a one-of,
Yeah.
and in his mainly one-of version of the deck, still not going for it.
Now this is definitely a forced timeout, I feel.
Yeah. And it's not bad, but I just wonder if he could have gone for it last turn to set up for a stronger clear this turn.
Move quickly.
BloodTrail clearly pretty visibly upset by this whole ordeal, though.
Alright, they unleash the beast.
Do you not think there's enough stuff on board?
I think it's more about getting in the pool. Because honestly, is this game going past Unleash, Dino Tamer Bran?
Maybe.
Maybe it does.
Maybe.
Maybe it does, but I feel like it shouldn't be, regardless.
I just think with next turn, the ability to go Dino Tamer Coin Hero Power, obviously push everything face, and then Unleash the Beast Hero Power, Unleash the Beast Kill Command. I don't know. I think it was worth saving it there.
Okay.
Because if Flurry has the clear, he goes for it 100% of the time anyway.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not precious about playing it. You know, I'm not like, that was terrible.
Right.
But I just think just spending the mana in something that actually benefits
fair.
you later,
That's fair.
as you were going to be drawing cards every turn anyway, wouldn't have been terrible. But this by no
I
means,
agree.
it's not like he's going to lose the game to put Unleash the Beast in his pool.
And as ever, I think I, as a player, undervalued the potential of what can come off the top.
Right.
Like, you know, like you say, he could just not have the mana to spend all his cards for the rest of the game.
Right, and that's part of the reasoning, right? Just using the mana even though it feels bad. But it's going to feel bad on a timeout turn no matter what. That's what the card's for. Oh, he doesn't clear this crush. It's going to be a little bit annoying.
Especially his little babby crush there could be brought up to a toddler crush again by Houndmaster.
We can watch him take his first steps. Yeah, like, whoa!
Get the camera.
Can't, he stood on it.
Why do we call him Crush anyway? We were begging for this to happen.
Yeah. Oh, you want face?
Hey, he's clearly trying to get the damage through, but this does now mean it's 2, 4, 9, 11. Very almost lethal represented on this board. And I think Flurry will absolutely go for it.
Yep. Oh, got the pressure on. Seen Kangor, seen Flash of Light, seen Timeout. The weapon swing doesn't really change the equation based on the minions that are left. Oh, what if he Snip Snap Hero Power?
Yeah, I'm thinking Hero Power Snip Snap might be better.
It's a bit sticky, isn't it?
There is only one Beast in play, and Unleash the Beast Hero Power Kill Command is obviously not a possibility.
It's not, but Snip Snap bots should make up that. And
I
are
agree.
they really going to be cleaned
Yeah.
up?
I prefer Snip
Like,
Snap
is
as
the
well.
board going to get cleaned and the 2/1/1s? Like,
Yeah.
that's a question, isn't it?
And this is, you know, part of the reason why holding the Unleash the Beast was slightly better, I suppose, because it allows him to just kind of tempo out Snip Snap for just one version without the echo. As BloodTrail does, just go for the win for a 1 in 7. I mean, I said I wanted him to be a bit more
I
brave.
respect it.
There we go. Yep, I think that's honestly something that seems kind of funny at first glance, but is very valid to go for.
Wait, he's not timed out this turn. Okay, I don't like that. I
Is
thought
he
you just
expecting to survive?
I thought you just Holy Wrath and if you miss it, time
Timeout, and then just go for it again next turn. He could
I
have,
mean,
he could
okay,
have
wait,
gone
wait.
timeout
He
plus
didn't have
Holy
the
Wrath.
second Holy Wrath next turn. He didn't have it, right?
Right,
When
right,
he made
but
the
you could
choice.
play
But
to get it off
he
the
could
top.
have, yeah, he could have waited and used used Flash of Light next turn and drawn cards and see what happened.
That's going to be game.
Yeah, he needed Flurry not to have 2 damage, and I guess there are not that many cards that net the damage from this point.
I guess.
Unleash the Hounds,
Yeah.
but still, that when you're dead with the timeout in hand, you've got to ask yourself some questions as this Paladin, right? And I think that's just true.
Yeah.
I don't want to go in on BloodTrail too much, but if you die and you had a timeout that was playable, then
Right.
something went wrong, I feel like
I agree as
you
well.
at least just play them and say, I'll play one more turn, maybe, and as you said, maybe they draw the next Holy Wrath, maybe he gets heal, maybe he gets some kind of board clear.
Right.
But again, BloodTrail suffered from having less board clear and less like of the more common tools we see in Paladin.
Yeah.
For want of this quicker card draw. But
That's
when
a
you're
good
under
point too.
pressure, with only 1 Consecrate, 1 Equality, and 1 True Silver Champion,
Yeah.
then you're going to be able to remove less boards and remove less minions on demand. So I think in this series, BloodTrail did kind of suffer from just the deck and the build.
Yeah, I think that really fell apart really quickly there for BloodTrail, and it's another instance of him being let down by his play with the Holy Wrath Paladin. He clearly likes the deck a lot. He's bringing it week after week, and there was a lot of stuff I liked in his play along the way, but a lot of stuff that I think clearly showed a bit of a misunderstanding in
four-mana
what you're going
Kangor
for.
pass.
Yeah, stuff like that. But just like at the end there, just purely not going for the timeout there. If you're expecting to live for an extra turn, why not just go for the timeout first and then do that next turn and hope you live?
You get a whole
the
new
next turn
card
anyway.
to play with, right?
Yeah.
And that 1 card can make a big deal, right?
Absolutely.
You know, if I said, okay, you can play this turn, or you can play this turn with an extra card,
Yeah.
the choice is pretty
And
obvious, isn't it?
It's not quite so simple as that, because
It's
obviously
not, but
maybe
I'm
there
just
was
saying-
more development.
I'm
but
just saying the
I fully
basics,
agree with
right?
your point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was arguing with myself more than anything else there. But yeah, I think there that it could have just been an instance of, even if he'd drawn Shivala, he could have gone Shivala, shuffle it back in, heal up for 7. Like, yeah.
Maybe. But anyway, that series is over and Flurry takes the win and BloodTrail looks progressively worse. What is that, 1-7?
1
now,
and
I believe,
7 and
which
4 and
is
4.
Which the problem is, because Tyler won as well, Tyler, who was at the bottom before,
Yep.
is a few steps above that now. So it looks like BloodTrail is falling further and further behind, and we may already be getting a glimpse into one of the relegation players from this from Asia Pacific region so far. But let's not dwell on that for now. We've got a great match coming up.
Oh, yeah.